And George Washington Carver is credited with saving the agricultural economy of the rural American South. He was born the son of slaves, but he became one of the most notable chemists of his day. And working in his laboratory, he used to call it God's little workshop, where he did his experiments and his science, his chemistry. And he's credited with the innovation of crop rotation. In the Deep South, cotton was the primary crop, and the problem was that the cotton depleted the soil. But Carver knew the solution to that, and so he invented his theory of crop rotation. I'm sure other people have thought of it before, but he's credited with a lot of stuff here. And the problem was that nobody really knew what they were going to do about the cotton problem and the solution in itself. But George Washington Carver was a Christian man. He had a deep faith, and he said, this is a quote of his, "All my life I have risen regularly at 4 a.m. to go into the woods and talk with God. That's where he reveals his secrets to me. When everybody else is asleep, I hear God best and learn my plan." And so on one of those mornings, Carver asked God to show him why he made the peanut. Okay? And eventually this man would become known as the Peanut Man. He asked God to show him why he made the peanut, because he knew that in terms of crop rotation, if they planted peanuts, that would reintroduce the right nutrients into the soil to help with everything else. You know, it's a cycle of things. And so he asked God, you know, why did you make the peanut? He knew it was a solution. And this is what he said. He said, "God told me to separate the peanut into water, fats, oils, gums, resins, sugars, starches, and amino acids. And then he told me to recombine these under my 3 laws of compatibility, temperature, and pressure. And then the Lord said, then you will know why I made the peanut." Alright, so obviously this gentleman had a very scientific mind, a lot of skill and intelligence, and he took that message that he'd heard from God as he listened to God and asked God the question. God gave him the answer, and he went away to his God's little workshop and worked on the peanut. And within 10 days, George Washington Carver came up with 300 ways and uses of the peanut. So that one trip to that special place in the woods to talk with God fundamentally changed the agricultural industry as we know it today, because he listened to and felt the Spirit of God in his life. And so some of the things that he made, a lot of what he discovered didn't come to much in the end, but a lot of the things that he did dabble with, and with 300 things to do with peanuts in 10 days, included things like flour, paste, insulation, paper, wallboard, wood stains, soap, shaving cream, mustard sauce, hurrah, shampoo, chili sauce, skin lotion, axle grease, and insecticide. That's quite a range of things, isn't it, to come from peanuts. And he also made breakthroughs with the use of sweet potatoes, pecans and soybeans as well, and became known as the Peanut Man. And this all was a result of him having this connection with God, this relationship with God, and listening and asking the question and listening and doing what God said. And this is a story that is retold in America, and there's many statues. Is that why you know the story? Have you seen the statues and things? Yeah. There's lots of sort of institutions and colleges and statues are dotted around the United States in memory of George Washington Carver, because his story really ought to be told. He was a great man of God, but a great scientist too. And that will hopefully connect with what I'm going to say later about Mary of Bethany. The ability to listen to God, to be discerning, to be wise, and to follow up with action is something that George Washington Carver did.